1, City 1.
Well, Ali, Michael, thank you. Back with you in 15 minutes or so as the players make their way down the tunnel and the sprinklers come on at Molineux. As he said in commentary, gents, absolutely one-sided in terms of the stats, the shots on goal, the possession stats. But Manchester City, again, as he said in commentary, found themselves behind. That was a real shock at the time.
Yeah, probably because of how City started with good tempo, good dominance, forward threat, and again, they got caught on the break. That can happen in the Premier League. But again, I think he said it. Also said in commentary, City have done it before. They've come from behind.
10 points they've rescued this season already from going behind and coming back, and already they're back level. We'll focus on the opening goal. We'll do it in chronological order, why don't we, Mick? It's a brilliant cross from the right-hand side. Nelson Semedo whipping the ball across. And it's the other Norwegian forward, Jorgen Strand Larsen, who's tucked in his third goal of the season. He's in a lot of space at that back post.
It was a magnificent pass, definitely, yes. It was a superb cross coming in. But I look at the full-back, has he got any chance of getting back in there? They're playing so far forward, Manchester City. They get both full-backs inverted in there. When they've broke on him, he's trying to get back Rico Lewis, and he's nowhere near it, and he just gets a tap in at the far post. I'd say if I'm Wolves, it's a fabulous break, because the pass and the fact that he was hurtling into the box to get on the end of it, it's a great goal by them. But it's a bit sloppy by Manchester City giving it away.
Yeah, so, I mean, we did talk about that at the start, that Wolves would get 1 or 2 chances in the game and they have to take that chance, and they did. Is that something that Gary O'Neill would have set out to target, knowing that Manchester City are going to be sitting on us on the edge of our penalty area, and when we go, we have to go quick and we have to be ruthless?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, again, you've got to give Gary credit. He set his team up knowing that Man City are going to have all the possession, but then there is always going to be a weakness, and that the pace and the speed of the attack, but then also then it's that willingness to join the attack as well. Because when you're doing all your work defensively and then you get a chance to break, mentality-wise, you have to switch quickly. Then it's about desire to get to the get from the edge of your 18-yard box into the 6-yard box for a tap in. And again, you've got to say the ball in. If Kevin De Bruyne plays that in, you're saying world class by a world class.
Absolutely. Brilliant cross from Nelson Semedo. He deserves all the credit for that, and Strand Larsen has his third of the season. But then, as we would have expected, they poked the bear, and Manchester City just reasserted their dominance. They went close a couple of times. Jose Sarr with 2 excellent saves, which we'll get on to. Right. And then when the goal came, Ali said in commentary, an unlikely scorer, and then he checked himself. Perhaps not, because Gvardiol scored earlier this season. We showed it at the top of the show. He scored against Newcastle. An unlikely scorer of that goal, for sure, because he's whipped it on his wrong foot into the top corner from the edge of the box. Yeah,
and you asked me how many of my full-backs would have been able to do that, and I gave a zero answer.
in a split second, you didn't even have to think.
I said, no, Dennis Irwin could have done that coming on his right foot, because he was equally adept in both feet and a wonderful player. But it was an absolutely... for all the possession they'd had, for all the blocks that Wolves had done, somebody comes up with that, and it's a full-back. Centre-half actually playing at full-back, and he sticks it in the top corner. And actually, Jose Sarr got his hand on it, but there's no chance of stopping it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful strike into the top corner, and it's another string to the bow of a defensive player for Manchester City to be able to do that, Keith.
Yeah, again, it's the freedom that they've got when they dominate possession, and sometimes that makes it so difficult to defend against, because normally you're looking at attacking midfield players or wide players coming in, so then you've got to stay in your slot, and you've got people you're expecting the people that are arriving in those slots. Next thing you've got centre-backs, full-backs coming into those slots, and you're thinking, well, where's my man gone? And again, but the thing is, it's still going to be a difficult afternoon for Wolves, because they've got to maintain that level of discipline, that level of concentration now for another 50-55 minutes of the second half. And again, fatigue, mental fatigue as well as physical. If they make changes, the players that come on, they've got to get up to speed very quickly and buy into that discipline that they would take a draw now.
So it's interesting, he scores, he puts it in the top corner. If he blazes that over the bar, they are going mental at him. You don't do that, you keep playing, you work your way through, because sticks in the top corner is the hero. They don't advocate too often shooting like from 20-25 yards, that's for sure.
Magic stat from producer Callum in my ear then. That is Gvardiol's 6th goal with his wrong foot for Manchester City. Yeah. So cutting inside. And we talked about how the wingers can go either way. He's coming in as a fullback and he's scoring all sorts of goals. If you haven't seen it, then you need to see it whenever you can. Check it out on YouTube. The Gvardiol goal is one that you will not forget. Let's focus on the fact that City went behind again, and it seems to be a bit of a recurring theme. They're recovering from it, sure, and they're ultimately going on to win, unbeaten in the Premier League and in all competitions this season. Why might that be happening, do you think, Mick?
Well, teams, we all do our analysis on the team, so they'll be saying, yes, you might be penned back, you'll be penned in, there'll be both full-backs will be in here, the centre there'll be, and as it turned out, there was plenty of space down both sides, is where they got in the end. And they'll be saying, if you can nick it, you be ready to go, and we're going to go, and we're going to go, and we're going to go as quick as we can with as many players as we can. And they can be caught on the break. And that's why we get the analysis in and we do all our work and look at it and see how we can punish Manchester City. Because there's not that many ways to punish them, but that certainly looks like one.
I wonder if going into the game, Manchester City might have looked at it and thought, we are going to be sitting high up the field in this one. If we are to concede a goal, it's probably not the end of the world, because you look at the stats in the Premier League table, Wolves concede 3 goals a game, and Manchester City are the best goal scorers in the league. They would anticipate to score more than 1 in this game.
Yeah, I think they will. Again, just touching on, because everybody says, well, that Man City always dominate the ball, so why don't other teams dominate? Well, they don't do it because City outnumber teams in that midfield area. Now, for City to do that, like I say, the inverted fullback comes in to give them that extra body in there as well. And you've got John Stones that can go and step in as well. So they've always got to pass on. Again, in the early stages of the game, to get that dominance, you need to get some of your players to go in unfamiliar positions, or familiar for Man City, but to get that dominance of possession of the ball. But then that has got a weakness, and it's usually the opposite side of the pitch where a team attacks you, because, like I say, as it was ended, Rico couldn't get back into his slot quickly enough. He's had a lot of distance to cover. So
the strength of the formation also, therefore, creates a little bit of a weakness in reverse. It
can do, but again, I think you can score too early against Man City. If you're going to score against Man City, you want it to be in the 94th minute.
Yeah, score late and then see if you can hold on. Just one thing on the Gvardiol goal, which has come with a packed penalty area in front of him. We know how meticulous Pep Guardiola is. We showed the goal that Kovacic scored against Fulham a couple of weeks ago, just before the international break. He controlled the ball, edge of the box, and he shoots through a lot of players, and he scores. Both of his goals quite similar in that regard. I wonder if Pep Guardiola is training his midfielders and his defenders in that situation, knowing that you're coming into this game, there's going to be 10, 11 behind the ball here, and this is perhaps going to be one of our scoring opportunities. What do you reckon? I
think there's certain things that I've picked up within it when the ball's in wide areas, the little movements of the little triangles to get beyond a team that are sitting in, that I've noticed. And again, then I think it's just natural instinct that players will arrive on the edge of the box. And like the one thing you want to do is give yourself an opportunity to score, which is keep the ball on target, keep it below the crossbar. You've always got a chance of a deflection.
I think it's a certainty that they will work on the fact they'll have to shoot from the edge of the box sometimes.
But through a cluster of players as well. So would he set up a drill and go, look, there's all this in front of you, what can you do with the ball?
Yeah, they do. They put the mannequins in. They're not going to put players in, but they might put attacking players in.
Goalkeepers.
Then if it does hit a mannequin and it drops, then there's somebody that might have to quick feet past the next mannequin and side foot it in, or set somebody else up. Absolutely. I'm sure they will do.
One name we haven't mentioned is Erling. Doesn't feel like it's his kind of game. There's no space for him. They're doubling up on him. Craig Dawson's playing really well, watching him, not giving him a yard at all. We know that if one comes loose in the box, he's probably going to react quicker and higher and more powerfully than anybody else, but that's not been the case so far.
How many games have we watched him when it doesn't look to be his game and he's not had a touch? And to be fair, they are so tightly packed, and the 3 centre halves, he's bouncing off each and every one of them. But I guarantee if he gets the right ball, the right service, he'll score. But Dawson is having a particularly good game against him. I've seen him do it before.
It's a good tactic, but it's a dangerous one, because you're defending 18 yards from where he gets his glory from. So again, sometimes you say, well, against certain players, you take the battle outside of the 18-yard box. With Haaland, you say, we're going to cram the area that you want to play in. And we'll take our chances. Risky, but at the minute, you'd say, yeah, he's not getting chances, he's not had chances, but if one falls...
Yeah, and the balance of probability, if you look at the match stats, Manchester City, almost 80% possession. In a game that they went 1-0 down, they've had 3 shots on target compared to 1 from Wolves. And that point, let's have a look what that does to the live Premier League table, which we can bring up for you now. with Liverpool due to play Chelsea later. So 1 point from a draw today. If it were to stay like this, Manchester City would move level on points with Liverpool at the top. Liverpool yet to play their 8th game, which is a little bit later on. But they would be level on points at the top of the table. City, we know, will not be settling for a point or resting on any laurels. They'll want to be ending today on top of that pile, especially with the knowledge that Arsenal dropped points yesterday.
I think we missed a little bit. They should have gone 2-0 down, but for a great save. When they were
at the breakaway.
On the breakaway. I think he should have scored, to be quite honest. You say it's a great save, but I think he should have cut. The defender just got back towards him and made a great save. But listen, they just want to be professional and get the points and keep... Not how you get them, not how you win it. It won't matter to Manchester City if it ends up in the 98th minute, as long as they win the game. And of course, Wolves are going to try and hold out with everything they possibly can, as they've done so far. But I mean, as you said, the stats, and they've just made another great save there. But prior to Manchester City scoring, Wolves could have put this game at 2-0.
Yeah, Ederson diving at the feet to deny the breakaway goal. 1-0 at the time, could have been 2. And let's mention the Wolves goalkeeper, Jose Sarr, who's been left on the bench for most of the season. Sam Johnson's been the number 1. Yeah. We don't actually know why he's not in the squad today. We think he might be unwell or injured. He's not on the matchday squad at all. But Sarr's come in and he's made the same save twice to deny 2 great chances for City.
Yeah, definitely. Great reactions. Goalkeepers do work on that. Like I say, shot through a crowded 18-yard box, and this one, good hand, good athleticism to get down. And arguably, you say he got a hand to Gvardiol's goal as well, which he was unlucky with. But no, he's going to have to be on his toes, and he's going to get worked for the next 45, 50 minutes.
I wonder if Gary O'Neill as a manager, what's that job like, Mick, when you've got 2 goalkeepers and one is clearly the preferred number 1, but you know it's fragile and anything can happen, and all of a sudden you're going to be really reliant on that backup keeper? It's
difficult. Goalkeepers are a rare breed, aren't they? Because they support each other so well when they're out of the team. Every day training, every day working the guy who's going to be in the nets, and equally working the one who's backup. It's difficult because you'll have one in mind that is the first keeper, and then he gets injured and the other guy goes in. This is when it's difficult, and he has a great time, but you still think the other one's better than him. Yeah. Are you going to put him back in, or do you stay with him? It's a real difficult dynamic, that, for both of them. But the keepers are brilliant at supporting one another. Yeah, and no doubt Sam Johnson will be giving him a huge pat on the back for those 2 saves. Yeah. Let's take you to Molineux and just see some pics from the half-time break. Tommy Doyle, ex of this parish, has his kit off and he's going through his warm-up drill, so it looks like he will be a substitute for Wolves at the break. Very, very highly skilled, very capable footballer, and will no doubt be up for it today against the club where he learned his trade. So a big moment for the career of Tommy Doyle. As soon as we know that, Ali Man will bring that to you. We're not far away from the second half. Guys, I don't know if you know, but I see if you can see it behind that curtain, behind the camera. There's an enormous elephant in the room, and it's the McCarthy Curle curse. It's not coming back again, is it?
Speech was at 95.
OK, we'll speak to you at 95 minutes. So if you're just joining us for the half-time show, pre-match, I told you the last time we had these 2 in those seats together on this show was this fixture last year, and it ended with a Wolverhampton Wanderers win. Nobody did the research, did they? No. Obviously, you know, that's what we do as managers. We research things and do analysis.
Well, we won't be on together.
No. Yeah, all of our futures are dependent on Manchester City in the next 45, 50 minutes, so we'll have to wait and see. Right, the teams are making their way back out at Molineux, so it's time to throw back to our commentators for the second half. It's Wolves 1, Manchester City 1. Enjoy the next 45 minutes in the company of Michael Brown and Ali Man.
Welcome back. Wolves are indeed making a change. Tommy Doyle, the Manchester City graduate, has taken the place of Andre, their big money signing from Fluminense. Now, Andre's very much a deep-lying central midfielder just in front of the back 3, or the 3 centre halves anyway, whereas Doyle is a little bit more advanced, so I wonder if that might be a little more bold from Gary O'Neill.